Dave. I'm man on the Mounjaro Dave Nap with Michelle Hess tonight.
Hi.
How exciting is that, Michelle? Thanks for hosting.
Oh, I'm thrilled to be here. Well, I'm thrilled that you came to
I'm
me.
thrilled to be here. Yeah, this is her place, and so she was kind enough to let us do this here at her place here in Arizona, and so yeah, we're here and streaming a little bit differently tonight. My StreamYard account was not cooperating well for me, so we just impromptu are doing it here on YouTube. So if I can't follow along in the chat like I normally do, please forgive me. Also, all of our fun little emoji videos, all those things, I don't have any of that tonight. So sorry about that, but I do have Michelle, which is exciting. And what I'm really excited about tonight is we're going to take your calls like we have been. We're going to take at 1-833-TERZEPA. So if you have questions, any questions about GLP-1s, whether it's Mounjaro, Ozempic, Wegovy, Rybelsus, whatever it is, your questions we'll be taking live here tonight. If you just want to say hi, call in and say hi. And we're going to be taking these calls all night. Krissy, at Chrysanthemum, who uploaded her first video this week, so you want to get over and check out her channel, at Chrysanthemum. But she'll be modding, she'll be taking the calls and forwarding over here. So we are excited to talk to you tonight. And Michelle, being the wealth of information that she is, that's why we're taking your questions tonight, because I have Michelle here as my crutch. So we're so happy to be here together tonight. This is the first time we've been live together
yeah.
in person.
We met in person a few months ago, but yeah, we haven't done a live together because, well, Dave lives in Iowa and I live in Arizona.
So the magic of the internet has allowed us to have Michelle on the show, but never to be in person, so it's kind of fun. It was fun when it worked out to meet you last time,
yes.
But to be able to make this work is even more exciting. So yeah, excited to do this show tonight. So we'll take your calls, 1-833-TERZEPA, 1-833-TERZEPA. I can't remember exactly what those numbers are. I can pull it up real quick.
I
just called
it.
it. Yeah. So it's 1-833-847-9372. So we'll take your calls. Yeah, so if you have questions, give us a call. I can't really follow along in the chat too well because of the way that we're streaming tonight. So you're going to have to call in if you want your questions answered.
So let's do one. What is the difference between Rybelsus 24 milligram and Ozempic?
It's a
big difference.
Yeah, go ahead.
So Rybelsus is an oral GLP-1, so its efficacy is definitely less than an injectable, but it is still a GLP-1 nonetheless. I personally don't know anybody who has taken it or had success with it or not, really. And then Ozempic is semaglutide or semaglutide. It's actually acceptable to use either pronunciation, I've learned.
I like to use both.
So me too. And so it's an injectable like Mounjaro, which is a GLP-1, except it doesn't have the GIP agonist. But if it's Wegovy, it's for weight loss, and if it's Ozempic, it is for diabetes only. But people are using it for weight loss too. So I hope that is.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if you said this or not,
okay.
But Rybelsus is also semaglutide.
Yes,
so
I didn't say it, that's true.
So you have the oral semaglutide or the injectable. And one of the big reasons that, I did an update today on the Novo Nordisk earnings call where they talked about how they saw a huge increase in sales of Rybelsus last year, which I think was largely driven by the shortage of the injectable version of semaglutide, which is Wegovy and Ozempic. But yeah, I think the big reason is bioavailability, right? When you take something orally, you digest it, you metabolize it. There's just less bioavailability of the medication.
Mm-hmm.
Hence, the efficacy is a little bit different when you take it as well. So.
And I have not looked at the Rybelsus studies, to be honest. I've looked at studies on all the other GLP-1s. I think even the old ones like Vieta, but I don't know as much about Rybelsus. I'm going to try to learn more about it, I think.
Yeah, I've always been kind of interested in an oral GLP-1 just because I know there's a lot of people who are weary of taking injections.
Me,
right?
just said that.
Yeah, so if that's you, there is also an oral GLP-1 coming from Eli Lilly in the next year or two. That's called orforglipron. And orforglipron's main goal was to have the same level of efficacy for weight loss as injectable semaglutide. They backed off that statement a bit, probably because of some
Because
early
it's
results.
not, yeah, and it's not gonna be.
Right.
I mean,
One
let's
of,
face it.
one of the other things too that I saw, Michelle, and I did include this in my video today, but Novo Nordisk is testing Rybelsus and injectable semaglutide at much higher levels.
Oh, okay. And they might see more similarity in higher levels. It's possible, but my thing with the oral is I think it could also make you sicker.
Yeah.
Because it's going directly into your stomach and your GI tract, where the injectables are not. And I understand if people are afraid of needles and don't want to do that, but I think most people can get past that with these tiny needles that are in these injectors. I mean,
It's not.
You know.
Even for people who are weary of needles, like actually my aunt, I got a call today from my aunt who is a type 2 diabetic, and she just got Mounjaro.
Oh wow!
For the
That's
first
great.
They took her first 2.5 milligram shot yesterday, so I'm excited for her. But she didn't like the needle idea either, but she didn't have any issue with it. So it's so easy.
And Melissa just added that there are a number of rules around Rybelsus, which makes sense, like not taking it with food, only a minimal amount of water, and certain things about water before and after, and that makes it a little bit of a pain too, and a lot harder to coordinate with your day.
Yeah, that I think for me would be a problem. If I can avoid pills, anything that involves
I have enough pills.
Yeah, I hear you. Anything that involves routine for me is like out of the question.
I'm afraid if I have to take any more pills, then I'm not going to fit the food in at this point.
How do you think? Now that you mention that, one of the things that I've been wondering about, Michelle, lately is, so you get delayed gastric emptying with all these GLP-1s, right?
Right.
So tell me this: how does that affect something as simple as acetaminophen, Tylenol?
It does affect it because actually I already, I had a duodenal switch as a partial duodenal switch. Right. So I have absorption problems already. And so the long-acting drugs especially, I'll get to the Tylenol and simpler drugs later, but the long-acting drugs are causing me difficult in my other types of drugs
like
already.
Extended release?
Yeah, the extended release, like long-acting pain medication. Now they're having me take it apart, put it on my food to see if that works, because they don't want me on regular pain medication all the time because of liver, right? So I may go on a patch at some point. But I think with shorter acting drugs, like say an acetaminophen, it definitely sits around, and I don't, and they've looked at birth control specifically, and it isn't as effective, right?
Yeah, that would be a big wake-up call for somebody.
Yeah, you can actually have a big problem with that. So they're looking at ways around that. Now, obviously, patches, other injectables, things like that, but I think they're definitely less effective and not more effective. Because the digestion, they don't get to the intestinal tract as quickly. Because the intestinal tract is where we absorb drugs, right? And I'm obviously not a medical expert, but because I don't do that for a living, but I did work in med-mal and, did a lot of this stuff. But, and having the surgery myself, I can tell you that that sitting in the stomach, it could even possibly disintegrate in the stomach and not even make it very far into the digestive tract. And I think that's what's happening with my pain meds. Yeah,
so you're not even getting that absorption.
Right, which honestly, I don't want to get too much off on my stuff, but some of the doctors apparently don't know, and the PAs and such too, that if you have something like this going on, that it's not indicated to give extended release or long-acting drugs. I saw a physician who, and I knew this already, but he backed me up, and he said, you need to go tell this PA that it's not indicated. And I just had a conversation with her, and she still wants me to try doing it because of the law with all these things and stuff.
Sure.
And so it is getting complicated with that. So people need to be aware, they need to be educated. And if you are not having something that's working well, or it's working too well, and your provider's not responding appropriately, and you're saying something, maybe try another provider is what I would suggest. Yeah.
Definitely, that's good advice. 1833 Trezeppa. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to follow along here a little bit in the chat. Good conversation so far, but we would love to hear from you. So if you want to call in, if you've got questions, 1-833-847-9372.
Melissa mentions that laxatives and other bathroom drugs, take longer to work. And I can see that would be a big problem for drugs that have constipation as a side effect. So that's another place where with the duodenal switch or something, they would suggest maybe trying a liquid form.
Okay.
Rather than, because even if there's food in the stomach, liquids will still
pass
through. So I would say try liquids. I mean, I know a lot of people like Miralax. Personally, I have my own regimen, and some people really like magnesium. But gosh, that stuff, different things work for everybody in that arena, for sure. But liquids probably are a good idea. Oh, there's Emmy.
Yeah.
She's checking the half-life in her patient's drugs, in particular psych meds. Very good idea, Emmy, because I've actually seen a lot of people complaining about their psych meds, which is interesting because some people are getting psych relief from the Mounjaro itself.
I've heard that.
But at the same time, you've got people who are having more problems because their psych drugs aren't working. So that's a really good problem. And a good point. One of my drugs, it's a psych drug, but I take it for nerve pain. It's duloxetine, and it doesn't work at all now. Not that it worked that well before, honestly, because of the duodenal switch, but it's just, I may as well not even take it, to be honest.
Yeah, that's got to be frustrating to try to navigate that when you're trying to get chronic pain under control. And
oh yeah, it is. It's a very interesting process, but again, you just got to keep trying.
Yeah.
I thought about also, I talked to my provider recently about having that compounded.
Oh.
Maybe, because it isn't available in a non-extended release or long-acting drug. So that's another thing people may start to look at sometimes too, because some of my compound drugs, all of them have nothing to do with GLP-1s. They are all related to other things, and like my ketotifen is only available in an eye drop. So they make the pills for me. And so there are options, but sometimes the providers don't know about them. They cannot know everything. That's what we have to keep in mind. No provider, even in a specialty, can know everything.
Right.
And you cannot expect primary care providers to know everything about everything that's going on. It's just impossible. And don't do your research and go push them into things that you don't, that you're not knowledgeable about. But if you see something, talk to them about it and try to figure out, work with them to get more knowledge or get them to refer you to a specialist.
So that's excellent advice. Always something that we push for on this channel is have a good relationship with your doctor. Have several doctors, see specialists, like Michelle said, have a team around you, because you should be making decisions alongside your doctors who are the experts in medicine. I want to kind of, on that topic, but not, I want to ask you what your thoughts are with, so big in the GLP-1 world right now is this big fear that people are going to end up going, not being able to get these compound medications, these compound GLP-1s, because of the different things that are happening in these different states. Okay? So here's my question. So I think we're both in the same camp that these aren't going away.
Right.
They're not. These aren't copyright infringements. The issues of scarcity of the name brands, that's not going away either. Today, Novo Nordisk said they're going to be expanding Ozempic into China and Japan.
Right.
So they're going to have to not only keep up with the current demand, but demand in other countries.
And Lilly's got similar plans.
Lilly has similar problems, though I think they're being more aggressive.
Well, they have similar plans to expand. Right.
So my question to you is, how concerned should people be that what's going on in the GLP-1 world with these compounds is going to scare doctors out of writing these scripts?
Well, I think some doctors will definitely get scared off of writing them for sure. But the ones who understand what's going on, I don't think they will, unless the medical boards start writing warning letters too. So one thing people don't realize, because I thought it was at first, these are not bans. These are warning letters that these states have written to these pharmacies, telling them that using this version of the GLP-1, a salt, it can be a problem, and they're concerned about it and they want them to stop it. So it's not an actual ban or any kind of regulatory action that has been taken. So we have to think about that first.
Right.
Secondly, they went after 3 of the weakest states they could go after, the ones that actually went into action, or 3 of the weakest states they could have done, and 2 are the most corrupt. Louisiana, Mississippi, okay? Two of the most corrupt states, and I used to practice law in those states as a paralegal anyway, not practice, as a paralegal,
Right.
with lawyers. They're definitely corrupt, and it's really sad because they also have the biggest obesity populations in the country. So they went after these poor people, and they're the poorest states.
Mhm.
They can't afford these medications. But you know what? The Louisiana bariatric surgeons are the first ones to have it have semaglutide compounded.
Mhm.
So my thing is, I don't think they're going to quit writing. I think some doctors will.
Yeah.
I don't think this is going to hit every state. I
Mhm.
think states like Florida, New York, and Arizona, who are pushing out, making the compounds and doing well economically because of them, are not going to do that. So what I would say is, for the small population, I could be wrong, but for the small portion of physicians who stop writing them, who are already writing them, those people are probably going to have to go to another state.
Right.
Or try another physician in your state first. But I don't think the majority of existing physicians who are writing them are going to stop.
Do you see, because of maybe potential liability issues, do you see the potential for like a Push Health or Plush or what, these big online, what do you call them, telehealth?
Yeah.
You see any of those making a blanket, we're not using
Well,
them?
I don't see it with Push unless we have more problems with investigations, and we may get into that in a minute if you like, because this is what has catapulted them into profit.
Right.
They were hanging around. Some of them were being used by certain employers for things like, I don't know when you started doing telehealth, but I think around 2012 we started doing it at my firm when we were in Colorado before we had our merger here, and it was a specific company that contracted through United Healthcare, and we used that company. But now companies like Push and Plush and Sequence is only weight loss, so obviously, and they're with Weight Watchers now, but there are some that are only weight loss. And even though Push and Plush do other things, the amount of business they do for weight loss compared to those other things, I suspect is far disproportionate. And so they're going to do everything they can to fight that.
Yeah.
Now there are individual providers like at Push that already don't write the scripts because
right.
they don't know enough
There's
about it.
there's a lot of
Yeah.
inconsistencies.
Yeah, and
between
Sequence never did because Dr. Dolsky does it. He says it's because it's dangerous, but that's not it. He just didn't know enough about it.
Sure.
Is my opinion. That's my opinion. I love Dolsky, by the way. Everybody should follow him.
Yeah, he's great.
He's a smart guy.
Yeah.
But I think unless push comes to shove on something really hard, that most of these are not going to stop doing that because this is where their money's coming from. Most of these people can't afford the drug. Only 40% of insurance covers it as a weight loss drug.
Right.
So I don't see how they can stay in business if they do that.
That's a really good point.
But I could be wrong. I'm not right about everything.
I think you're probably on the right track. I think one of the things about this. By the way, thank you to Pug, thank you to Sue who sent super chats, super generous. You guys, really, really appreciate that. Wanted to just kind of dovetail on this conversation a little bit and talk about these semaglutide salts and these tirzepatide salts.
Right.
So we've talked about this on my channel several times, and I've warned people, like, eventually the media is going to get a story, they're going to glom onto it, and these are going to be demonized.
Yes.
And so that's why I've been saying for the last couple of months, stay away from these research peptides that they sell for nothing on the internet.
Right.
It's all coming in giant containers from China.
Exactly.
And one of the things that I've learned kind of in my cursory research about it is these salts are very, very unstable.
Oh yeah, all the salts are.
So the more they get handled, the less efficacy, the less they basically become worthless.
Oh yeah.
And so when you buy that kind of stuff, not only are you buying something that is essentially bathtub Mounjaro. Donna, thank you so much for the super chat. You're so kind.
They are.
Yeah. So it's not legal. It's not legal to do. It's not legal to buy these compounds. It's not legal or it is legal to buy them for research purposes.
For research purposes.
But it's not legal to inject them or to take them. So just stay away from them.
Yeah.
But some of these compound pharmacies have been purchasing these salts. That's why I've also said, do your research on where your doctor's writing a script. Talk to your doctor.
And I think there's very few of those folks that are doing it.
Oh, I agree. I agree. But see, it only takes one.
Yeah,
Just
it's
like,
a big national one.
and somebody could inject themselves and get some sort of nasty infection from this bathtub Mounjaro stuff.
Oh, yeah.
All it takes is one story for the media to grab it and then put everything under that umbrella.
Oh yeah, just like the Ching case, Ching case that had a few years ago in New York. That case is what everybody goes back to. It happened one time. It was about 40 people, and Merck killed 60,000.
Right.
They make a big deal of it, but I honestly, actually, with Merck, it makes me think. I think most of the compound pharmacies are getting theirs from Merck.
Yeah.
I really do. I've seen some hints to that on the internet, and I think they're getting it from Merck.
I've heard it directly from nurse practitioners that have looked into it.
And they're not. They may not tell you that exactly, but when you go in to get a deal with this compound pharmacy, first of all, your doctor may know, because some of these doctors are working with the pharmacies. Most people are not taking scripts directly to the compound pharmacy like I do with my different things. Although my doctors did set me up with that. I think they will at least tell you whether it's a salt or not if you ask them.
Yeah.
And you should be asking that question specifically.
You want to know something that's very interesting? About 2 weeks ago, I got a message from a gal on Facebook, and she said, my doctor wrote me a script for semaglutide salt.
Oh my goodness.
And at that time, I was like, I don't know, I think it's the same thing. And now that I've kind of looked into it, it's that. It's the same thing with like Depakote, for instance. Depakote is a salt, or lithium. Okay, for mental disorders. You wouldn't want to get that from some overseas. They are salts, and you do want to take them, but you wouldn't want to get that from a ship that's coming from China that's been on the sea for weeks, and and some of those are actually volatile. And nitroglycerin's another one. I mean, you have to think about that. But I really think you can get enough information from the doctor or pharmacy about whether it's a salt or not to proceed. Without them revealing their exact source and worrying about somebody else finding out where they're going to get it from and those things. I think that there's a lot of fear from these compound pharmacies, like the ones that don't make them. They're afraid of what they don't know as it relates to the legality and the patents.
Which is smart.
You would want to be cautious, but I would push, if I was taking a compound, I would push to know where it's coming from.
Definitely.
That's important. And that's my point in bringing this up is that's the root of what you've seen coming from these states. It's not that they're getting cease and desist letters from Eli Lilly saying you can't sell tirzepatide. I stand by what we've said on this channel. The patents that are held on these peptides, these polypeptides, are really in the mechanism that they're delivered, in the specific cocktail they make so that it slows absorption. Like today on Novo Nordisk's call, they talked about how they're developing a once monthly injectable version of presumably semaglutide.
Right.
They're just changing the cocktail so that you absorb it slower. But polypeptides are naturally occurring substances.
And since they contain less than 40 amino acids, the FDA can't control them either. And when the FDA can't control them, in addition to them being a natural substance, just like any other supplement, then that means that the patentability is gone. It's patentable because, we'll take semaglutide for instance. They moved one amino acid to a different position and they deleted another. In fact, it was position 8. I don't know which one it was, but that's what they did with semaglutide. With tirzepatide, they lipidated it, and then they add these preservatives and things to it. So that's what makes them patentable, and the pen.
Right, and the pen, which is
a design patent.
Which also on the last Eli Lilly call, one of the kind of interesting things that was buried in that call, and I did mention it on my video, is that they are testing different mechanisms to inject tirzepatide. So different kinds of pens.
Yeah.
I don't know what all that could be, but I'm interested in that.
It is interesting. I with my first B12 that I ordered online, not the same one we're doing now, but the one that I ordered originally, which was a B12 really should be intramuscular, but I did go for a sub-Q just because it was easy to get and it had an auto injector with it. A very different kind of injector, and it's pretty crude. But it was interesting to see an auto injector that was designed differently for any kind of surgery. It was really, it was interesting.
Yeah, and I did some research on,
Better.
oh yeah. I did some research on Amazon, and it sounds like you can buy.
You can buy auto inject. I'm not surprised. But that's kind of interesting. But one thing, if we don't have a call, that I would like to mention is this issue with investigations on healthcare providers. Dave had seen something on Reddit about healthcare providers being investigated, and one of them was from that I saw that he had a letter about was Push, and she's one of the ones that's actually voted best doctor in America, which is kind of interesting. But the problem is the reason she's being investigated. She's not being investigated by any regulatory body. She's being investigated by Express Scripts and Cigna. I love Cigna. But she is being investigated because they're saying that they think she's writing too many prescriptions, and that would be for wouldn't be for the compound drugs. It would be for Mounjaro and possibly Ozempic because those are covered by Cigna. So I want to give a little bit of advice to non-diabetics, because what I think this person did was problematic, and I've said this all along. If you are non-diabetic and you have a covered drug that's not covered for weight loss, like Mounjaro, like I do with Cigna, please do not get a 90-day prescription and do not send it to Express Scripts. The same thing with United Healthcare and OptumRx. Now, they usually require PA anyway, so it might not be as big a deal. But if you have a plan under Cigna that covers Mounjaro, and it is a tier 2 drug for you, you do not want to get a 90-day supply, because that right now it doesn't require a diagnosis code because it is a tier 2 drug. But if you send it to Express Scripts, it may very well require a PA because you're trying to get 90 days at a time, and that changes how they look at it, and it flags it. And that's why it looks like that is how this came about with this provider getting investigated. She's getting investigated because people were taking 90-day scripts to Express Scripts. So please, non-diabetic, individual scripts if you've got insurance coverage for 30 days. Just, if you get a 90-day, fill 30. And don't send it to Express Scripts or, sorry. I'm getting off on that.
No, that's excellent. So I am going to, we're going to move you
over here
around here so that we can plug in. Look at the, oh yeah, you don't get those kind of trees in Iowa. So excellent advice from Michelle there on your not feeling the that's the
yes, if you're diabetic, it's fine. That's a different story. You already have diagnosis, okay?
Right. Any aliens today, Dave? No aliens yet.
Yeah. Not today.
Not yet.
It could happen when we go outside there.
It could. We are in Phoenix. She is a great guest expert. I mean, I said that's why we're taking questions tonight, because we can't, because Michelle's here. So yeah, see, this is how I have to follow the chat. Now, isn't that goofy?
Oh yeah, I'm trying,
and
but
then
I keep talking.
my camera's right here, so I put my
Thank
phone
you,
right
Sue.
over. Yeah, thanks, buddy.
And thanks for saying that. Oh, Emmy, thanks.
I'm gonna just scroll back to the ooh, that's a good
A
song.
call!
Yes.
Press number, call for.
Welcome to the moon. Who do we got?
Hi, Dave. This is Cheryl.
Cheryl, how are you?
Hi, Cheryl.
I'm good. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Good. Yeah, we're doing good. What's going on in your world tonight?
I'm calling in because I'm one of those newbies that have started the compound,
Okay.
and I was really nervous doing that. And I was on Mounjaro for 4 months, and I lost 30 pounds on it, so I was very excited. I've been trying to lose those same 30 pounds for 3 years and 4 years, so it was great. And anyhow, because of the cost of insurance, and I decided to go through a compound pharmacy, and I was very fortunate that my doctor was very supportive of it.
Good.
And I just wanted to call and thank you guys, because even though my doctor is very supportive of writing me prescriptions, she's extremely disconnected from all of this, even though she's the one who put me on it right at the beginning. So it's been quite a journey trying to find out everything, on my own. And some of the stuff out there isn't that great, but I just wanted to thank you for your show, because it's been very informative, and through your show I managed to find a very good compound pharmacy here in Texas.
Good.
And actually through Mindy. So
that's excellent.
And I just want to encourage anybody, for me to go compound, I've never given myself a shot in my life. So
yeah, well,
all of it was pretty nerve-wracking, and doing that all by myself. And the pharmacies are so busy that they don't have time to even talk to you or tell you what you're doing. So it's been really like the blind leading the blind at times here, but I've pushed through and kept going, and I just took my third shot yesterday, and everything seems to go.
So are you experiencing, Cheryl, are you on compound terzepatide then?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and so how do you feel like how does it stack up to the name brand as far as your appetite suppression and...
I have to say that my appetite suppression has been a little less, slightly less. But I tell you what has been good is my digestive system has really improved. Like I am, it's great feeling full. On Mounjaro, you eat something and then, I just had a real problem with feeling like food was sitting in my esophagus the whole time. Mm-hmm. And on the compound, I have not experienced that. Even though I feel full, I don't feel that real uncomfortable feeling.
Not uncomfortable.
I don't know. I'm not a medical expert at all. I have no idea how this stuff works. So, but that's been positive for me.
That's great.
My appetite has been a little stronger on the compound, but not much at all. Nothing that I can't say, you probably need to drink something and not eat. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm really glad to hear that, Cheryl. I'm glad it's working well for you. My sister is on semaglutide, and that's just because it's a little bit cheaper. I think she may be switching to the tirzepatide compound, because personally, my opinion is that the tirzepatide compound is more effective, not only because of the dual agonist, but because it has less, it's more like Mounjaro than semaglutide is to Ozempic or Wegovy, because of the position change with the amino acid and deletion. That's not there with the compound. I don't think it doesn't work. I just think the tirzepatide is probably more effective. Just my opinion.
That's fair.
Yeah, I just have to say yes, because I really don't know. I don't know anything about it. I mean, I'm not diabetic either, and so when I went on Mounjaro, it was for weight loss. I needed to lose about 60 pounds, and I've been trying to lose weight all my life, just like everybody else's story in here. And when my doctor recommended do Mounjaro, that's when the coupon. And unfortunately, my coupon I got 2 days after the cutoff date for it to keep going until June. But anyhow, it's been okay, and I've worked through it. So, I've had to learn everything from ground up, and it's been quite the thing. But it's been wonderful just being able to, experience the weight loss and that I've been trying to lose for years.
That is so wonderful, and I'm so glad that you chose to call in and share your story tonight, Cheryl. A couple questions that I have for you real quick. Cheryl, what's your YouTube handle? I'm just trying to put a voice with a screen name.
It's, I think it's Chezj, Chezj, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just curious because I like to put a voice with a face. We've got some people in the chat who are just dying to know where you're from, where the accent's from.
Where is my accent from? I'm originally from South Africa.
Good,
Okay.
Mimi, you nailed it.
Yeah.
Mimi used to live in South Africa.
Yeah, Mimi.
Yeah, I've been in the States though. I've been in America for 42 years now. Actually, going on for 42 years.
Well, then that was a good one on you.
I only became a citizen 2 years ago. So yay!
Yay!
That's awesome.
Congratulations.
And your compound that you're getting, that's from a U.S. compound pharmacy, correct?
Oh yes, it's from Stonegate, right here in Texas.
Stonegate in Texas, yeah. That's awesome. Well, I really appreciate you calling in tonight, Cheryl, and sharing your story. Thank you so much for being a part of this channel and this community. You said so many nice things about us and about the channel, but we wouldn't do it if it wasn't for you being here and being a part. And I really am thankful that you called in tonight. So thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome, and God bless, and keep on the Mounjaro.
That's right. God bless you. Take care. Have a good night, Cheryl.
Good night.
I'm hoping that we get to do it on insurance soon.
Yes.
Yes, that's right. All righty. Take care.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Oh, how awesome.
Yeah, that's fun. So the volume, I think was a little bit down on that. It's not probably not coming in quite as good as it does when I'm at home and I have the nice microphone and all of that. So we're improvising tonight. I'll see if we can get it a little bit louder on the next one because I don't actually think I had it all the way up. So
Joe, thank you for the comment and for I don't know if you did a super chat or what, but thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Joe. I saw that as well, so appreciate that. Cheryl Love asked a second ago, different Cheryl, are you considering SAF peptides a compound? SAF peptides is one of those for research purposes only, and those are not what those are the reason that some of these letters are going out in these states is because those are not supposed to be taken by humans or even animals. I think we're back.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, sorry if we we are having some issues with technical stuff tonight. You'll have that when you're on the road.
We're in the clubhouse at my condo complex, not at my house, at my condo.
Yeah, we did glitch. We're back. Thank you for sticking with us despite the troubles that we're having. We'd love to hear from some more of you if you want to give us a shout here. 833-TERZEPA. We'd love to hear from you. If you've been waiting to call, tonight's a great night to call. If you have any questions at all, we've got Michelle here, so don't wait until I don't have Michelle to ask me especially difficult questions.
He's too nice. He is really nice. I guess there's no such thing as too nice, but
yeah,
he is awfully nice.
Well, I've got such a great community of people here. Speaking of the great community that I have here, I would love it if you are watching right now to hit that like button. And if you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing to the channel, becoming a member. If you become a member, you can take advantage of exclusive emojis. And if you give me a bunch of super chats like Pug and Sue, you'll get your own emojis too. So show the folks the emojis in the chat if you're here and you are a member. Give the emojis some love. I appreciate each and every one of you for joining here tonight. Would love to hear from some of you. 1-800-TERZEPA, 1-800. Or sorry, I keep saying 1-800. It's not 1-800. It's 1-833-847-9372. 833-847-9372.
We do this, guys, for you. I mean, it's for you guys. We do it. I mean, it's fun, but it's for you. So if you have anything to ask, don't be afraid. Don't be shy.
Now is the chance. Because if you wait till next week to ask, and I don't have Michelle, I'm going to tell you, you have to wait till I have Michelle on. Yes. So the Baconator, I added the Baconator emoji for Sue YouTube, that's a joke from the Discord. If you're not part of BJ Davis's Discord, you can join it at davisdiscord.com, where the best conversations for GLP-1 medications take place on the entire internet. Michelle is a mod over there, so she's always answering lots and lots of questions that people have over there. So please get over and join BJ's Discord. It's just a great place to be. We got up to 18 likes, so thank you. Hanging on to that like. Just let me know what I need to do to earn that like, folks.
Melissa, oh, he did shrink the chat. Okay, you're good. Yeah, and the Discord's really fun. It's one of the more supportive places. I mean, Dave's great. Facebook is great too. But the good thing about the Discord is it's civil. A lot of the Facebook chats, not Dave's group, but a lot of groups are it's difficult to deal with people, and there's trolls and things like that. We don't have any of that, so.
Trolls and scammers.
And scammers. Oh yeah, scammers. I mean, they've tried to use Dave's image to scam him, and on Instagram, my friends have been getting that for years with bariatric. My account was private until about 6 months ago, so it hadn't happened to me, but it has happened to a lot of people, and I see it all the time. It's no fun.
Yeah, Cheryl said she needs a Discord lesson. Are you on Discord over there, Cheryl? If you're not, you should just join. It's really easy. It's just like a chat room. So you'll get the hang of it.
And Joe is actually the admin over there. He is an expert in Discord. I certainly am willing to help too, but he is the man when it comes to Discord.
So if you are averse to trying something new, which I am, just ask BJ. It took me forever to join the Discord. But if you're averse to trying something new and you're on Facebook, do get over to my Facebook group on the pin and join my Facebook group, because we'd love to have you there. There's no scammer, no drama, no nothing. It's just basically me posting links to all the content that I make. We got another call coming in.
Excuse me.
Welcome to the moon. Who do we got?
You got your best friend Sue.
My man.
Ah,
Sue the dude.
Hey Michelle, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing so good. Hey, listen, Dave, I want to ask you: did you listen to a Novo Nordisk earnings call today? Is that what your video earlier was on?
Yeah. Did you ask me if I listened to it?
Yeah.
So the exact answer is no. I didn't listen to it.
I read that they are going to stop issuing, giving new patients Wegovy to take care of existing patients. But did you also mention in the conference call, they said they're expanding to Japan and China? That just seems like such cross purposes right there.
Yeah.
They're probably going to hire different people and do production in those countries, I would think. While they're not concentrating on us, which kind of stinks, because I don't know if people realize this, but we do the reason we pay so much for these drugs, and say they don't in Canada and some other places, because we pay for it, all the research and everything.
Right.
We do everything with this.
And then we pay the most money for
And then
the
we pay the most money for the drugs. And then, I'm glad the Canadians get it for cheap, because we can buy things from Canada most of the time, which is great. But it does seem kind of unfair that they're doing that. But I also see the point that maybe they'll make more money and hopefully be able to ramp up things here too. But maybe if they make it in Japan, for instance, they'll use Japanese workers and things that will help them deal with that area. But I don't know for sure.
And I'm curious, Sue.
It just concerned me the fact that they were going to restrict new U.S. Wegovy users, but then expand overseas. I just thought, that just seemed like a little bit unfair.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
I think the silver lining to all that is I'm not sure the obesity rates in China and Japan are anywhere near what they are in the United States. But
They're getting up, but yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. They are getting a lot fatter though.
But
probably because they've got McDonald's.
Processed food. Yeah. They are. No, because
also,
actually we're not the fattest.
It'll help compound pharmacies be able to make it, because it means that Wegovy will be on the
shortage list.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely, and that is a benefit of it for sure. I mean, it saddens me still, because, like I said, even though the semaglutide is effective for a lot of people, there are some people with the compound it isn't quite as effective, and it's really sad that if their insurance covers Wegovy, that they can't get it. But I think you had a good plan. I don't know if you mind if I say what your plan is. But to start out on a higher dose, I don't think they can preclude you from starting it, because they're just ramping down the initial dose. Now, that being said,
I didn't know. That was sort of my concern, because it looks like they're closing options off for us. I'm still on Mounjaro, and I think I've got one or two at least fills before I have to make a switch. And I think my insurance will pay some, along with the coupon for Wegovy. So there's always options, and I just feel for the people right now that are, man. I think it's really going to hit the fan in about a month. I think you're going to see some.
I agree, and that's why even though it's a little more expensive, I would probably go for tirzepatide compound if I could, if I was in that position. But no, I agree. It's going to be an even bigger problem probably than the coupon shortages, honestly.
Yeah.
But you know what? It will be good defense for making the compounds. It'll be a good reason that they can stop fighting the compounds. They may still try, obviously, but these compound pharmacies and the physicians, I don't think they're going to let that happen. And especially in the states that have been really profitable, like Florida.
Yeah.
In the free state of Florida. Sorry if there's any Dems out there, I apologize.
There are.
It was just a joke.
There definitely are.
It's just a joke.
You're wonderful, Michelle. Thank you so much for being the guest expert.
Oh,
And
thanks.
Dave, I love you, dude.
Love you, Sue. Thanks for
Thanks,
calling.
Sue. I
buddy.
love you too. You're awesome.
Appreciate you as always.
See y'all.
See ya. Awesome. So Joe just said I tried to post the Discord link. Yeah, it's not allowed. But davisdiscord.com, right? That'll take people right there. That's easy to remember. davisdiscord.com. Emmy said, interestingly, there's different weight management criteria for this region, and you need to consider a lower BMI as possible increased risk for metabolic disorder.
Good point.
So, yeah. They shame American diet while touting Asian countries have lower obesity rates. It's just crazy to hear them bringing a weight loss drug there.
Well, that is true. But it was Japan, and what was the other country?
China.
Oh, China. Okay.
China
Yeah.
can keep their peptide salts.
Yeah.
Just keep them over there.
Yeah. Just keep your peptide salts over there.
You can have your bootleg
Mhm.
semaglutide. We'll have our.
Well, yeah, and the thing is, though, you know what's going to happen over there? They're not as regulated. And so people who are not reaching a BMI of 30 or 27 with a comorbidity are going to be getting this because they want to be skinny. I mean, they definitely have more of an obese population than they used to. Don't believe that they're all skinny anymore. They're not. We're not even the biggest country now. I think New Zealand is actually the biggest. Australia's out of control, too, though, with their weight. So it's sad, but if you also look at what's happening in the world, they're not being stupid. Because with, I'm not going to get into politics, but with what's going on with currency and things, Novo Nordisk is being smart.
Yeah, and they do get into that in these earnings calls. I mean, there's very real political implications here, like the currency manipulation that goes on, the weakening of the dollar, how that affects inflation, how that affects everything. I mean, it's a sad reality. Also, one of the things that I've heard both companies talk about now is the IRA, which was the Inflation Reduction Act, which had buried into it some stuff that was just terrible for the development of new medications.
Oh,
which,
yeah.
You know, like Michelle said earlier, we develop all these medications in the United States, these groundbreaking, life-changing medications, and we foot the bill for it. So under the Trump administration, he did get the privileged nation status, which was a huge deal.
Huge deal. He should have gotten a Nobel Prize for it.
Seriously, people just don't understand this stuff.
I know.
But there are very real political implications for all this stuff, and so it does kind of bleed over. But
Yeah, and guys, just be on the lookout for that. Regardless of what your political affiliations are, the media is trying to distract us about a lot of things right now, and this is one of them. They're trying to use us to distract us so we're not on our toes. Before we get too upset at China and Japan, let's think about what they're doing to us here and why they're trying to make us mad at them.
Right. We could probably go off on a tangent that I don't know.
We might lose all the users if we do that.
We'll probably get a whole new subset of users.
But yeah.
So I have some exciting news. Emmy B, nurse practitioner from the DMV.
Oh, my favorite.
I've been waiting for this. She's on the line, so Krissy's gonna send her through. So I know Michelle's excited about that. I've been waiting for this. Actually, I think I still owe her an email back from a couple weeks ago. But yes, so we'll be excited to have her here. So Yeah, we'll talk to her in a second. Melissa said, I don't blame the countries. They're not forcing these companies to bring their med there. Yeah.
Well, they might be. We don't know.
So, yeah. While we're waiting for Emmy, if you are interested in joining tonight and asking a question, you can call 1-800-TRZEPA, and we would love to chat with you all tonight. I'm just going to give a special shout out to the members, those who are members of the channel. Thank you for being members. Just makes all the difference in the world to me. So we'll bring Emmy in. Emmy B, is this really happening?
I'm actually getting over my stage fright to talk to you, and I totally fangirled out on Krissy. Hey!
It is
Hi, everybody. I'm so happy to talk to you.
Me too, you as well.
so great to have you. I'm so thankful that you decided to make the call finally.
I'm like shaking, and I was like, this is silly. I love all these people, and I'm so grateful to all of them, and I just need to call in.
Absolutely, I'm so glad.
Obviously, you know, I have major love for you. I literally just moved one single patient during the great coupon horror of this year, and like honestly feel like so much of this group was the motivation for that. So yeah, I owe you guys a lot.
Oh, well, we owe you a lot. You provide so much great information for us, and you're always so kind, and you're so nice. I love you.
I love how...
I'm feeling so mutual.
I'll echo what Michelle said. Emmy, this is to have people like you in the stream. Like, I'll get on some night and I don't necessarily feel it every night like I do some nights. And it's always like, I just look at the chat and I see the conversations that you're having there, and Michelle and Sue. And it's like, wow, even if the show isn't good tonight, the chat's always good. So we appreciate having you.
And we're not experts. We just play experts on YouTube. You are the experts.
Man, hugs you, like all of y'all. Like I bring out so much laughter. Yeah. But I mean, like that's medicine, right? Like, gosh, there's some days that just one of my best friends I'm from rural Pennsylvania, but practiced in like the metropolitan DC area. So my friend John still practices in rural Pennsylvania. He says, doesn't medicine just kick your teeth in every day? But then, like, you'll have those moments that'll just lift you up. Like, I had one of my patients who lost 100 pounds on Mounjaro in, like, 4 months.
Wow.
Walking, like, miles a day. And, like,
wow.
I've literally taken him off all of his medications except for, like, a baby dose of irbesartan. And, like, we cried. We literally sat in the room and just, like, cried. It was just, like, the most joyous.
Amazing.
You know, like, it's been really cool. It's been, like, really amazing to finally have a medication that sort of unlocks a lot of what people have been trying to do and worked so hard on, or it felt like they would never have the opportunity to be able to do. It's really cool to have that for them.
And that has to be such a good feeling as a caregiver to be able to provide that to them too, because I know, like, for me as an obese person and fighting for so many years, especially since my diabetes kind of went off the rails, like I just could not lose weight. I could not lose weight no matter how hard I tried. I could maybe, pull off 10 pounds in 4 or 5 months, and then, it'd just come right back on because I had to scratch and claw just to get that. And so, even though my weight loss is slower with Mounjaro, to be every month trending down, even like last month, it was a pound, but it was a pound down.
Hey.
And it wasn't up, so it's just such a gift for those of us who need it. And I'm sure it does become a bit of an emotional roller coaster when you get to have people in your office and they're able to get the help they finally, have needed.
Yeah, I mean, you and I, like, separately, right? Like, as I thought, like, about, like, things, if I ever were to come on, like, things to talk through, like, that I've personally been through, like, both sides of the spectrum as far as, like, challenges with weight and body, and also see that every day, right? Like, I see a lot of, I think I'm trying to rephrase it. I'm trying to, like, learn a more, like, positive phrase. Like, I've been using, like, I don't want to use the term eating disorder, but almost like disorderly eating. I don't want there to be stigma around that, because I feel like so much of life with food is like that for so many people. And it's been such an interesting time to, like, contemplate those conversations and just try to have, like, a more patient forward, open discussion with people about, like, where we're at in this journey together, right? Like what we need for this moment in time, and like how to reapproach our relationship with like food and our health too. And also ultimately, hopefully to like reduce stress around it, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Well, and for me thinking about that, it's a time to really work on your habits, but at the same time, it just proves that this is our biology for the most part. For me, anyway.
Yeah.
It may not be true for everybody, but I mean, at one point, I probably thought I was a food addict or something, but I've come to realize that for me, that's not true. It just seemed that way, because I was hungry all the time. You know, and
Yeah.
we're just fighting biology without this. It's just such a gift.
Agreed.
Yeah, agreed. Totally agree. And it's interesting. Like being an early, in my region, I feel like in some ways I've been an early adopter, and of course, like it's interesting to work with and to be up against other voices that have reservations too, and then also like now having a decent amount of patient panel where you just see like what a blessing it has been, and I really feel that way. Like it to me, it's so obvious like what a great tool this is. So,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And your patients are fortunate to have a provider that thinks in those terms. It's interesting. I was talking to my aunt today, who I mentioned earlier in the stream. She's type 2 diabetic. She's been on metformin for 1.5 years now, and she's sick constantly from the metformin. But she's like, well, my A1C's down. And I was like, it doesn't have to be like that. You can be on Mounjaro and you'll lose the weight. Like, she's got a pretty good amount of weight that she needs to lose too. And her doctor, I kept telling, she'd have the conversation with her doctor every month when she'd go in there, and the doctor did not want to put her on a GLP-1. And I was like, Ozempic, Mounjaro, like there's better options out there for you, and you'll lose weight, which is so important for a type 2 diabetic, just to take that extra tax off your organs.
Well, it can cure it a lot of times.
And you know what he said to her? He's like, well, the people that are losing weight are losing too much muscle mass. And I'm like, okay, so you're talking to somebody who's pushing 70 years old.
Really?
And is, probably 70 pounds overweight. I don't know. I'm just hazarding a guess, which is probably not very smart of me. But, has a significant amount of weight to lose and would benefit greatly from losing that weight. And that doctor, clearly just hasn't done their research.
This is about keeping her improving her quality of life for the few years she has left, whether it's 10, 20, or whatever.
Right.
I mean, that just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, what I appreciate...
It's inertia, right?
Yeah.
It's like, it's hard. And I think the other thing too is you have to be willing to like blow up your system or be a voice for change within them too in a positive way. And that's not always like, I don't want to excuse that because like, when I hear that, I just like feel like the fire within me, and I'm like, I'm gonna go out there and find her and like try to, it's frustrating to me to hear that, and it because you and I, we all know that's not true, right? Like we all know that the future will hold more. There will be a change in what the endocrinology groups like suggest as first line, because as we think about this like disease process, like holistically speaking, but it's frustrating to be like on the front end of it for sure.
Yeah.
Well, what I would just want to say quickly, what I appreciate about you the most, and also about some of the other providers who participate, is that you go above and beyond to keep up with information about what's going on with the experience of people who are patients, even if they're not your own. Because although I have a provider online who's okay, my PCP, he's not going to write me this. He's a great guy, but he just doesn't understand it yet. He admits that, so that's fine. But my provider online definitely doesn't keep up with it like this. She's okay. I spend more time educating her about certain things besides dosage than probably she provides information to me, and that's fine. But I'm so glad that people like you are out there, because not everybody has the capacity or the ability to do that. They need people like you who are paying attention to what's going on with patients outside of your own practice on YouTube. It's just amazing, and I appreciate it so much.
Yeah.
Oh, again, like think of all the hours of time that everybody has dedicated, right? Like I think about that every time I'm on the chat, and I just like look forward to so many names, and also just like hearing their perspective. And I got to plug one of my friends from, oh my gosh, my undergrad days. Like what's her handle on TikTok? Like, I am Juliana Joe.
Mhm.
Like she started posting, she status post bariatric surgery. And I started following her, like 3 things I wish I knew after bariatric surgery. And I'm seeing the exact same like symptoms in my patients. So it's like adopted like how we manage around the side effects of these medications, or think through like transfer syndrome, which is just really interesting. Like, you know, like when we think about like habits and behaviors, and how would I have known that like without all y'all or her, you know, like it's cool. It's so cool to learn so much from everyone.
Well, I love that you want to learn and that you're providing the information to people, but you help us so much too. Having direct contact with providers who care means a lot to this community.
Absolutely. Yeah, it just brings a level of, I mean, like Michelle said earlier, like, we're YouTubers. we're YouTubers on Mounjaro. You know, like, we're just learning our way through it too. So to have experts like yourself who are willing to come in, lend your expertise, you know, correct things when
we're
we
wrong.
don't get it right, you know, and just adds a whole nother, you know, seasoning to the secret sauce that is, you know, this community. And so I'm so thankful for you and for folks like you. We've got several. Donna is another nurse practitioner who's always in. Carla. I'm
sure we'll miss somebody, but all of you.
Yeah, and then of course, you know, Angie and Jenny who have been on as well. So just so appreciate all of you.
I follow you all. So I don't want to hog all the phone time. I'm sure there are other people that want to call in, and sometime I'll be even braver, Dave, if you want me. I would love. I mean, again.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
I would love that.
Whenever.
And all of the drugs. I mean, it's just incredible. So sometime I'll get brave.
Whenever you're ready, you just drop me a line and we'll do it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, everybody have a good night.
You too. Thank you so much.
Oh,
appreciate
I love
you.
her so much.
Yeah, bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Oh, that was awesome. I've been waiting for that call for a while.
She's the best.
Yeah, Emmy, thanks for calling. That was so fun. Krissy took a while to transfer that call because they were chatting. I'm starting to think that Krissy might not be the phone answering person. We might have to put somebody who's got less to say. And because of the way that we're streaming tonight, she can't be on here, so she's probably got a lot to say.
I'm probably not the one either, to be honest. I might not be as easily distracted as some people, but I have a lot to say too. So I don't know. We'll find somebody.
Yeah.
Melissa said something that looked interesting, but I didn't see it all. Let me see. Oh, I went the wrong way to chat. Oh.
She said, thinking back to when she was offered Byetta and Victoza and how different it would have been if she didn't balk at the injection then or had insurance to cover it.
Oh, yeah.
I've heard a lot lately about Victoza and Saxenda, and there's quite a few people who have had success with those. Yeah. Byetta is a different story.
Well, Byetta was, we know all about, we're talking about Byetta obviously, but we needed it to get things going because it was the first, right? But I have she's a YouTuber too, Dory VSG. She had some regain from bariatric surgery, like many of us, and I'll say quickly, we don't all regain all of our weight, so don't think that. It is still a valid procedure. It's just sometimes something happens when you regain some weight, like I did. And Dory had a bit of regain, not a whole lot, and she never made it all the way to her goal. So she started on Saxenda because that's what TRICARE covers. If there's anybody who has military coverage with TRICARE, know that if you get a PA, they cover Saxenda and Wegovy. But Wegovy was in the shortage, so she did Saxenda for a while. She did pretty good. And when Wegovy came back into circulation, she switched to Wegovy. I have had some bariatric friends who identify as binge eaters who have not had as good a luck with Victoza. Now that doesn't mean somebody else wouldn't. And I honestly don't even think they're really binge eating disorder. I think it's biology, like I think everything else is. And a little bit of mindset probably too. So but there are some who have luck with Victoza. So if this person's insurance covered it, the binge eater I'm talking about specifically, on Instagram, she was asking me, and then finally we got her to Mounjaro. it took a while. We had a bunch of going back and forth with, I didn't talk to her doctor specifically, but about insurance things, and she finally got there. But I still feel like Victoza is a valid thing to try. I mean, you don't have to jump right to Mounjaro.
Well, and the big thing is that for the accessibility part of it, it's coming off patent. And so within the next year, if you can't get access to the compounds, if you can't get access to Mounjaro or to Ozempic, you're going to be able to get the
Yeah, you'll be able to get the generic which is kind of interesting. I don't know if anybody knows this, but the Mississippi warning letter that they put out to the pharmacies said specifically you could get liraglutide still. I thought that was hilarious.
Well, I think, yeah, that's silly.
It was just about semaglutide. So yeah, Victoza could probably help a lot of people in the generic form, and it's probably not going to be dirt cheap, but I mean, it's not going to be $1,000 a month.
Yeah, it's it's still just, you think about from a manufacturing perspective. It's not like when a pill becomes off patent, that's real cheap to make. You got an injector pen that you're gonna somebody will have to come up with an injector pen. They'll have to assemble it, the manufacturing behind it. It'll still be an expensive on the expensive side, but it won't be as expensive as
it might be comparable to the compounds.
Yeah, very much so. We got a caller here.
Yay!
Welcome to the moon. Who do we got here?
Who do we got?
We got Chrysanthemum.
Krissy! Yay!
I felt bad. I felt bad because
It's so hard to get it timed right.
I felt bad ragging on you, so I'm glad you called. You must have forgiven me.
I miss it. I was so prepared for this.
I know, and I was fumbling for about a half an hour before we got started here, trying feverishly to get StreamYard to set a stream up, and it just wouldn't work. And YouTube, their streaming just sucks. I mean, I can't see the chat. I can't really do anything. I mean, I can do this. This was.
And you said that live, and now you're getting kicked off the tube.
Yeah, but when we have this many of us together, well, 2 of us together, and we're trying to do something else, sometimes we can't pay as much attention to the chat because we're talking, and it's not like that every time. Whoa!
Right.
That is kind of scary. We look like zombies.
Oh my
I'm done
goodness.
playing.
But I got to talk to Sue tonight, and I got to talk to Emmy, so it was super fun.
She's the best.
Now we're pictures.
Now we're pictures. Oh, we need take on me.
Yeah. Take
on
me.
I'm old. What can I say?
I'm right behind you. And my hairline is about 55.
Oh.
My hairline's about 55. My ticker's probably 60.
Your hairline's exactly like my husband's at that age, but I can tell you with that one, it doesn't get too much worse. It just
Good.
Yeah.
Good. That's good to know.
Yeah.
Sue's got me on minoxidil too.
Well, I just put him on the muesli, the compounding pharmacy online. They've got a good minoxidil product with some other stuff in it, but they are also the oral. They got the oral.
So I'm taking the oral. I took finasteride one time, never again.
Yeah, this isn't
That's
that.
nasty
This is that medication. Gosh, I always forget that it's for hormonal acne. But it's supposed to work really well too. It's different. It's that and minoxidil.
Interesting. I'll have to look it up. But yeah.
We can talk about that.
Trying to keep what I got.
We'll keep focused on the show and talk about that some other time.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry, you're here, Krissy.
You guys get distracted like we do.
Yeah. I plumb forgot you were there. It's hard when I can't see you on the screen.
Oh, Dave.
I'm digging a hole, huh?
You are.
He's 1,000 miles away. He's in a different time zone.
2 hours earlier here.
He's in a strange building. I mean, we were outside, inside. We didn't even know what we were doing.
I got it. Okay, Dave, first, I want you, after the stream, that's a hole we probably shouldn't go down, but did you get my text this morning at 6 a.m.?
What did it say?
It was a link to a YouTube.
Oh, I actually just saw that tonight when I went.
Okay, so share that with Michelle and see her thoughts, and she can like private message me and tell me what she thinks
Okay.
later.
Okay.
And then if it's a thing that we can talk about that we should talk about on the show, then we can do it another time. But I think it's a huge rabbit hole.
Yeah. So something about thyroid issues manifesting as like mental health issues.
Right, and that's what it came across as on like the topic. But it went a lot deeper once you actually watched the video. It was like super interesting.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, I'll have to check it out.
Yeah. So another thing was how life-changing. I don't know that you're using her name, but our aunt. Does she watch the show?
No. This is not
Okay.
your aunt.
Oh, you were talking to your aunt.
Yeah, I have aunts on both sides that are type 2 diabetic.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about our common aunt that is, does she watch the show?
I don't think she probably does, but we should tell her
I
about
think
Mounjaro.
Years ago, this would have been like life-changing for her, and I don't
Yeah.
know if she's on one of these
She's
now.
probably on insulin and metformin like everybody else.
Well, you know, that's an
She
interesting
had-
thing.
I know she was previously, and she was on quite a bit of insulin, if I don't remember.
Well, you know what I recommend to people who've been on insulin too, because you may or may not be able to do Mounjaro. Sometimes you can.
Yeah.
Sometimes those are the people who actually get the crazy low blood sugars, are the ones who are on insulin Mounjaro. I recommend people trying Soliqua because my mom is an insulin diabetic, and in 2 years she has lost 100 pounds without trying with Soliqua. It's insulin and a mild GLP-1. Now, I'm not saying you should recommend that to your aunt. I'm just getting that out there for the general public to know. I mean, this is a woman who has dementia. She's had dementia since she was 54. She's 69 now, and she couldn't actively try to lose weight.
Yeah, that is a good one.
I think our common aunt probably doesn't have as much to lose as Dave's aunt.
Mm-hmm.
That's how close our family is, guys. I know his aunts.
Yeah.
But she, I think, would benefit from the way she would feel.
Yeah.
If she
Yeah, for
changed
sure.
her-
And the other thing is, I think like there's a lot of people whose doctors just put them on insulin right away. It doesn't mean that they need it.
No.
You know, like if all of a sudden you're on Mounjaro and your sugars are controlled, if your type 2's gotten to the point where you're almost type 1 and you don't make insulin, that's a separate story. But I don't think that that's our aunt's issue, at least not to my knowledge. But you were gonna say something.
Well, I was just gonna say, well, you have to know kidney status too. That's why my mom ended up on it. Metformin made her worse, I'm convinced, that it did. And so they put her on Invicana, which is now off the market, which is very dangerous. And so when she got on the Soliqua, which is insulin Gardaland, and the I don't know what GLP-1 it is. I'm still trying to figure it out. It's kind of secretive. But anyway.
The one that's in the
Soliqua, yeah. When she got on that, she has stayed in stage 4 renal failure for the past few years since she's been on it. So anyway, my point is, you have to look at their renal status too and see where they are with that, because I don't know what a GLP-1 alone does to prevent renal status from increasing to a higher number, like a 5, which is dangerous, so dangerous, you might need a kidney.
Yeah, as far as I know, she doesn't have problems with that.
Oh, okay, good. But I mean, that's one of the problems with some of these doctors too, that they don't even know how to read the labs and see when they're in renal failure. My mom's last doctor didn't. It was just terrible. You just never know. But anyway, I'm sure you can recommend something to your aunts. It's going to be great.
Yeah. I don't see her enough. That's probably why it hasn't been on my radar. Cheryl Love has a question about electrolytes. How often should she use them? And is it good to have that salt?
Well, it is if you don't have high blood pressure. I have orthostatic hypotension, which is basically when I stand up, my blood pressure drops. And so I do it as a treatment for that already. And so my doctor says as much as I can handle. I would say if it isn't causing you to retain water and you don't have high blood pressure, you're probably good. But that's something you could ask the provider who writes this for you about as well. Don't take my word for it. Because again, I just play an expert on YouTube. I'm not one.
Same. even to a lesser extent.
So, but I would suggest, and also go by how you feel, you know. And unless you're somebody like Ken seems to have a problem with salt, I don't know what it is. Or I have lipedema. Well, but usually guys don't have that, so there's something driving it. Is my point. Like I have lipedema, so you would think that I wouldn't do salt because it would cause more water retention, but it actually doesn't for me that much. So,
Krissy, are you taking any electrolytes? Have you needed that at all?
So I have in the past, like I'll start to get headaches or, you know, just feel off. But I think I probably, I don't know. I get enough salt. I know that. I'm pretty of, you know, maintaining that. Not that I salt everything, but
they're not just salt.
I also take some vitamins that, I mean, not to plug anything, but if anybody knows what doTERRA is, I do take the Lifelong Vitality, and that is like 6 pills that have 1 million pills in them. Like, it's totally worth it. So that seems to help me. Plus, I do take a few other supplements, but when I feel like I'm getting like low or something's, you know, I need a shift, I still have a bunch of like Plexus, the hydrate drinks, and I like to just drink those.
You have like all the pyramid scheme stuff.
Listen, they're all good in some way.
Yeah.
Well, I started doing a different one because I'm bad at drinking it. They all taste salty and gross to me. So the other night I found one that I got at the Ehlers-Danlos conference that's for people with conditions like mine, and it's just a chewable tablet. And though it tastes pretty rough, you're done with it in 5 seconds.
Yeah.
I really like that about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be good if you're working on a small real estate in your city.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so does it help since I don't drink enough water?
If it helps you drink more, it will.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. And I would say, you know, the product that I've used is Sacred Eats Keto Essentials. You know, the main thing that I was advised when I went on keto, when you lose weight, your body, especially when you're losing weight rapidly, your body is shedding all of those electrolytes out of your body. So it's shedding magnesium, it's shedding potassium, it's shedding the salt in your body. And when that happens, it manifests itself in 2 ways. You're going to either feel nauseous, or you're going to have a headache, or you're going to feel fatigue.
Right.
And those are three things that people often experience with Mounjaro and call it a side effect of Mounjaro, when in reality, it's likely a side effect of low electrolytes. So another thing that people, if you're not interested in buying Keto Essentials, which I link in the description of all my videos, but if you're not interested in that, one thing that you can also do is drink bone broth.
Yes.
That grosses me out.
It's got protein though, too.
Yeah. So that's an option too.
Well, the thing is, with the electrolytes, you have, now you said it tastes okay, right? The one that you use?
It tastes okay. It's not great.
So me, I'm the type of person that since I've lost my initial weight, it has to taste great for me. But somebody else might think that one tastes great. So my point is you have to try the ones and find the one that works for you.
Yeah, what are you going to say, Krissy?
It might be that one.
I think you're buffering.
Oh, I'm
I had to
buffering?
wait till somebody else commented. You were on mine.
Okay. It looks like it's still going, so I'm gonna just keep talking.
We're getting comments in.
Yeah, the keto electrolytes. The reason that I like those over other things I've seen recommended is they by far, and if you are on something that's better than the Keto Essentials in this category, let me know. I'd like to know that it's out there. But it's super high magnesium, super high potassium.
And
like a lot of people are like, well, I like LMNT.
I don't
right?
like that one.
So those taste way better than the Keto Essentials, but it's just a bunch and not very much potassium and not very much magnesium.
Well,
and
the drip drop has a good amount. So
does it?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it does. But again, for me, I decided a long time ago, if it doesn't taste good while I'm on this, I'm not doing it, period.
Which is fair.
For food too, though. I mean, that's for everything for me, but not everybody's like that. So, but that is a good brand. period,
Yeah.
for things. So it's high quality, no
Yeah.
doubt.
Emmy's heading out. Emmy, thank you so much for calling in again. Appreciate you. I'm sure that Krissy enjoyed her conversation too before you got on. So thank you for calling in tonight.
Thank you.
Mel says drip drops are delicious. I every time I mention those on the stream, Mel's like drip drop.
It is better than the Element. It's not as salty tasting because, like you said, the Element is full. It has more salt and less other things. But the drip drop is actually also not for profit that a doctor designed to help people who are suffering from electrolyte deficiency worldwide.
Nice. That's good to know.
Yeah.
Krissy,
Yeah,
you alive?
I'm here.
How? Because I don't want to keep everybody up all night. I want to know how. Did you take the 1.7 shot?
I did. I did that 2 days ago.
How's it treating you?
Pretty good. I mean, I guess when my life slows down a little bit, then I will know for sure that if it's more appetite suppressant or I'm just too busy to eat. So, not that I'm not eating. I just need to remind myself that I need food in my body. You know, not to go 12 hours without eating. So, at that point, you know, I have a garage sale this weekend. So everybody knows it's just temporary insanity. And then, you know, Nick will have his surgery on Monday, and then I'm sure as I have to wait on him, I will remember that I also need to eat.
Yeah, there you go. I hope that it steps it up a notch. I've never followed the clinical trials for semaglutide like I have with Mounjaro, but the highest, like, you've got what, 2 more step ups to go you get to the highest? Is that right?
No, it goes to 2.4, but I don't know if it goes any higher than that.
It doesn't, but 2.4 is the highest, but is there one in between where you are?
I would say if I went from 1 to 1.7, it probably goes straight to 2.4.
Yeah, I think so too.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe it does. But you know what? I have heard some people didn't do super well until they got to 2.4 on Wegovy. You might do a lot better at 1.7, Dave, because that's getting up there. But I've heard some people really didn't hit their stride until they got to the top.
It'd be interesting to know. It'd be interesting to know based upon the research where most of that weight was lost. Because I know, like, on Mounjaro, their weight loss has always been on the 15 milligram.
Yeah, right.
At least titrated up for the 3 months or 4 months or whatever it is.
Well, and if you think about Patsy, who runs the channel Big Girl Talking, she's been on Ozempic for 4 years, longer than just about anybody. She's Canadian. And she's never got past 1, I think. She's still on 1. She lost 80 pounds, but she also hasn't lost any weight in a year. Yeah. You know, I just see, if you've got, she is a diabetic, what wasn't being treated for diabetes. If you've got a strong biology working against you, I just feel like the higher dose is where it's going to be. But the type of nutrition is important.
1.0 for 8 weeks.
Oh, see, I think it should be 4.
And by the last 2 shots, I was so hungry.
Yeah, that tells you what's what.
Anecdotally, I did not return to the same level of appetite suppression with the 5 milligram. I took the 5 milligram Tuesday, so I took it a day early, and it was in anticipation of being on the road.
Right.
Whenever I'm going on the road, I take a shot before I leave, so that it's strong in my system the days that I'm traveling. It helps me to avoid pitfalls, you know, because traveling is such a...
I think this is going to take some playing around with diet and things for you. Personally, I can tell you this. I have a tiny tummy, so I already got full fast, but I was getting hungry too soon. Now, I still get hungry on the medication, okay? I don't get as hungry as I used to, but I can go a lot longer stretches than I used to. Now, I don't try to go all day because I do the tiny meals. I'm not saying do that, but I think it's just going to take a little playing around with when you eat, what you eat, how much you eat to find that. But you know, there are times when I don't feel hungry at all the first 2 days, but I still get, well, I shouldn't say it all, but I still get hungry.
Last week I was telling you guys that I had that
Right.
feeling where like this is your stomach. Every meal that I ate stacked on the last one until like Cheryl said earlier, you could feel it in your throat.
Yeah, I had that a lot.
So that was the first time I've ever had that, and so I was kind of
It's a good
anticipating
sign.
that this week that would return, and it hasn't. So I hope that it does.
But I still think stick with it through 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And then when you go to the next one, it's good. Because what's happened to me is this. I've been on 15. This is starting my 3rd month on 15. And I have stronger appetite suppression than I've had probably the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't, now, the first doses I got hungry on days 6 and 7.
Yeah.
Now I'm having a hard time getting my maintenance in, which is what I do on those days.
Yeah.
And you would think that it would start wearing off, but it's actually getting even better, to be honest. So I really still feel like once you get there again, I think you're going to get through it. I think you're going to lose weight through the process, and I think it's going to be more lasting for you once you get there.
So I think I took my last 5 milligram.
Yeah. Oh, so you're getting ready to start 7.5.
Yeah.
And
I'm not going to be able to get it. So, but I do have I have 2.5.
Oh, okay.
So I have a refill on the 5. So I'll just refill the 5 and take the 2.5 and the 5.
And that's a good way to go. I mean, the thing is, people are, I don't want to forget about Krissy either, but there's, people are all going to have different things. I didn't realize that, I think it was 7.5 or 10. I only lost 4 pounds that month, and I didn't even realize it because I was at the point, I had been losing so good, I'm like, yeah, whatever. I mean, honestly, that's where I am now. I'm like, what happened is happening, I'm doing my thing like I'm supposed to, and I'm just going to keep going. And I looked back the other day and saw that on one of the doses, and I did nothing different. Same thing I always do, and only 4 pounds. So it's just, it's not predictable, is my point.
Hey, Krissy. So you got 4 weeks at the 1.7. Let's say you move to the 2.4 the next month, and let's say you just never quite get what you're looking for from a weight loss standpoint. I mean, I don't know how long you intend to stick with it. Are you gonna ever consider maybe trying to go on Mounjaro?
So the thing is, that's kind of a rock and a hard place. They originally only considered doing Wegovy with me because, like, it's off-label, you know, for Mounjaro, even though it's covered under my insurance, the likelihood of a prior authorization going through, because I'm not type 2 diabetic, I'm not pre-diabetic, was very slim, so we just did it. And I do have great insurance, and right now it's free.
Yeah.
So compounded tirzepatide would be like my option, and I would just have to see if, I mean, because I'm not losing. I don't know. I'd have to weigh that, you know, like, okay, can I still lose a pound a week and be happy?
So where are you at on the weight loss side of things?
Okay, I told everyone I know today that I'm an idiot because I totally forgot to weigh myself today, and this day matters.
Because it's Wednesday, right? And the tides and the moon.
Right. I was still about 1.5 pounds up from what my lowest, like, a few days ago. So I was very, like, excited to weigh today, and I just. How
many pounds down are you total since you started the treatment?
That would have been 21, yes.
Dang. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's great.
And are you 4 months, 3-4 months?
So I always have to remember my doses. So I was 4 weeks on 0.25, 4 weeks on 0.5, 8 weeks on 1.0. So I am beginning week
5.
17.
Yeah, month 5.
Yeah.
Well, that's terrific.
Yeah. I mean, that's over 1 pound a week, and I mean, I think that's pretty close to.
I'm not mad. I'm not mad because I don't think about food all the time.
Yeah.
And so I was talking with a friend that wanted to know about this, who actually, I have to thank you, Dave. I've reached a lot of people just through verbal diarrhea, if you will, about not being able to shut up about this. And so I was speaking with a friend who has actually a lot of mental health issues, and her weight and her inability to not constantly eat really weighs on that mental health. Mm-hmm. And we were chatting, and I said, listen, I want this for you. I don't know with her insurance what will happen. I did hear today that some people have been seeing Wegovy and Mounjaro added to their formulary with Blue Cross Blue Shield. So hopefully, that's what she has. But it's Iowa, and I know that I specifically saw in Omaha, so I don't know, or Nebraska. Sorry. Anyhow, I said, if this goes well, like I want to interview you. I want to follow your journey. I want to see if this helps your mental health journey as well. And just that one piece of stress that has been constantly nagging at her that adds to that self-hatred, that adds to, you know what I mean? Yeah. Just compounding the issues for her. So
one question I'm going to ask Michelle on this, because it's something that has kind of rolled around in my mind a little bit. Mm-hmm. Maybe from the bariatric surgery side of things. Mm-hmm. Do they warn people or prepare people going into bariatric surgery? The reason I'm asking this is because I'm wondering if they do, should they be doing this with GLP-1? Do they warn people, counsel people that like once they do the surgery, people may find that they were getting a certain comfort from the food that they can't get anymore, and so they need to be on alert? Like you might be looking for that somewhere else and some other negative pattern of behavior?
Yes, and that's what transfer addiction and things where that comes in. If you have a good doctor, a good bariatric surgeon with a team, and you actually sit down with psychologists and do the things you're supposed to do that are recommended, you will get counseling on that. Otherwise, you may have to find out about it online. Yeah. Some people do find out about it online. I knew about it even before I sat down with a psychologist, because of course, before I had bariatric surgery, I researched the bejesus out of it. So yeah, they do, and that's what, when I talk about working on the habits, you gotta find habits that work for you in your life, not just food and exercise related. You may need a new hobby. You may need to do something to keep you from spending money. Some people start shopping addictions. Some people start getting gratification out of that. But you gotta find something else to get gratification out of if that's bothering you. I agree, they should do the warning.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I've tried crack, so
no, stop it.
So
crack chicken?
I can't crack chicken. Chicken sandwiches. Since I can't eat as much anymore, it's just crap.
And this is the thing. This is just my opinion. But the thing is, during this period, the reason that never got to me, even though I took comfort in food, that never bothered me, is because I was ultra focused on this process. Yeah. And honestly, people should be during at least the first 6 months to a year. Yeah. You should be so focused on this process outside of everything else that you're doing, not thinking about your prior diet history. I don't mean it like that. I mean focused on getting nutrient-dense food, focused on improving your movement. Even if you're just spending 15 minutes on a day on it, that should be your ultra focus on. Yeah. And so for me, I'm not going to say that works for everybody. For me, being ultra focused on the process the first few years even has gotten me to the point where I don't need the comfort in food anymore.
Yeah, that's awesome. But I didn't mean to hijack your story, Krissy, but it I wonder about that for people, like, because I hear people talking about that quite a bit.
The bariatric patients talk about it all the time. I mean, new ones, even the old ones sometimes, who've had 5+ years like me, some of them even still feel it because they didn't deal with it at the time. I got through it with focus, but you can get through it with something else. They say hobbies are good, if you can find a hobby that's gratifying to you. Yeah, she has hobbies.
Well, and for me, that's this.
I mean, I don't have it. I don't really have hobbies, but answer people's questions on Instagram or something. But I mean, some people say a hand hobby, like that you actually use your hands on, can make a difference. But you gotta look for that and be proactive in finding it. You can't just sit around and say, oh, well now I can't eat. What am I gonna do? You gotta try. We all have to remember. You want the food noise to be gone, and you want your hunger to be minimal, but you cannot expect to not be hungry forever. You've got to find a way to deal with that too, right? You don't want to be super hungry to where you can't control yourself, but we can't expect to not be hungry at all.
Yeah.
Well, and you can't not eat either. It's got to be a balance, you know?
Yeah.
For sure.
Because you're not going to have any energy if you're not fueling your body.
Exactly.
I mean,
Yeah.
But you have to practice
and then you will lose muscle mass.
Right.
Right.
But you have to practice and find what works for you in your eating too. Because everything's it's gonna be different for everybody. I have my way, I know what works for me now, and that's what I do. And I recommend it to some people, but it's not gonna work for everybody. But I can tell you, like the few people OMAD works for, I think Pug's doing OMAD, right? But that's not gonna work for most people.
Yeah.
You know? Sustainability too.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that really most of my mental work has gone into is that idea of finding something that I can do forever. Like the second I start depriving myself of something, then I fall back into this. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't deprive myself of anything ever.
Yeah.
Honestly, food wise, I don't overeat, but if I want it, I have it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not a diabetic, so.
Yeah, it's a little bit different for those of us who are diabetic. I think that it's probably a good time to start wrapping it up here.
Yeah, I'm about fading.
Yeah, you gotta be. This
My back is killing
this
me.
is an hour and a half stream, so.
Sorry guys, I'm not lazy, my back hurts.
Krissy, thanks for being a good sport and being the what do you call it? Call screener.
Yes.
We'll find somebody else to take the calls so that people. I think here's the problem, Krissy. People call in to talk to you.
Well, they
I think that's
don't
it too.
look good on anyone.
You're so
maybe
fun.
we just, don't talk about it. I wish I could see your face. My video is still buffering.
Oh, is it? That's no good.
You don't have to be jealous. People like to talk to me.
I am. That's why you got your own channel. People can find you now at Chrysanthemum. So good. Once you watch Pug's videos about his 8 dogs, you can hop over and check out Chrysanthemum's video. Give it a like and give her a subscribe as well.
And she has a full video now, not just like a short. And it's a good one.
Yeah, full video. It's Krissy, so you know it's gonna be good. What's that?
I don't know. I'm looking at the feed, and Cheryl said something about a Temu addiction. So I feel like maybe she watched my video.
I can't hear her.
Yeah, she said somebody mentioned her Temu addiction.
Oh.
Temu, that's the thing that you're filling your void with, right?
No.
Crack for me.
The business.
Crack
But
for me,
they
Temu
can
for
find that
Krissy.
on my channel too. So you guys get to bed.
Well, thank you all for joining. Thank you, Krissy, for modding. Thank you to the gracious host tonight, Michelle, for joining the stream.
So fun.
It's so fun. We'll do it again.
But one thing quick, may the 4th be with you.
May the 4th be with you. And with that said, you are the best part of this channel. Thank you all for joining. Thank you especially to those of you who are members. If you'd like to become a member, there's a link in the description of this video, as are links to all the playlists of all the videos that we do here. Thank you so much for joining tonight. We will see you on the pen again next Thursday night. Until then, you all have a great week.
Bye, friends.
Thanks for joining. Have a great night.